Where have you skirted around change? Skirting around change is something I opened up, and maybe if you didn't do it in the full moon, the Strawberry Moon webinar I did, and you'll find it on my stories or on my YouTube channel. And I thought opening that system would be enough, but I realized that we opened a door which is a massive field of information, especially in the epigenetics where our ancestors avoided change in their lives, significant change, confrontation, for example, to really change habits and make solid commitment to change in life. And all the stories we tell ourselves about, it's not the right time, it's not the right moment, it's too much for me, I'm a failure, all these different conversations. And what really came up last week for me with Owning the Moment, for example, webinar, was how many stories are in us belong to our ancestors. So we could have, say, 10% of, I'm not good enough. And then if you imagine that there's thousands of ancestors behind you, and this has been going on maybe for hundreds of years, if not more, and then everybody adds a little flavor into your epigenetics where they felt like, I don't know, I didn't live my love, I didn't live my potential, I didn't live my creativity. It's not, you just have to go back one generation. I knew when I was growing up, it was about survival, it was about money. It wasn't about, when I was in school, it wasn't about, you can do the arts, for example, because that won't make you money. That was the belief system. So how many artists are in your system who never lived their artistic channel, creativity, and they put it away because they needed business finances to feed the family? So all these different epigenetic memory fields affect us. How many of us have in our ancestral line, strangers are dangerous, so we never travel, for example, or we never step outside the neighborhood. It depends how much these epigenetic imprints are strong in the system. And it can really affect the way we live our lives, our relationships, or where we don't go outside the box. And for me, the epigenetic belief systems about that, it's almost like we've caged ourselves. I remember I did a webinar called The Donkey and the Rope. And it's where, you put a donkey to tie a donkey to a tree, and then one day you don't tie the knot to the tree, and the donkey will still stay there. So that is us conditioned and programmed to not go outside our perimeter, our safe zone, into the unknown in life. So this webinar, skirting around change, I want to release the rope. I want you to release all, or invite you to release, if you want, all the cages you're in and traps you're in and limiting belief systems around change, around action, around love. So many of us have experienced our own personal feeling of abandonment and rejection. And then if you think about again, how many ancestors really were loved, felt safe, felt protected. Now, if there's a collective mountain of abandonment in the system, why do you feel, why not? It's obvious. Are you not in a relationship maybe that you feel safe, nourished, protected, and open to have that type of relationship? How can you be open if that amount of history is in your system? It creates walls, separation from self, from source. So these 4 webinars, I really want to open up the gate more. We opened up the door, I feel, in the free webinar. And behind that door is a mountain of energy around skirting around issues of why we're not making changes in our lives. And I want to really go through that mountain till there's nothing left at the end of this webinar. And then if there's a little bit left, you can deal with it yourself, or you can rewatch the webinar. And that's the beauty of the webinars, that you can, they're there for you for life, and you can keep going back whenever you need that support. So I invite you to face what part of you, and you may think it's you, is avoiding change. And is it really you that's avoiding change? Or what percentage of you is avoiding change? This is the real question. And it's not till maybe someone holds space for you, you can see that, oh, wow, that's not even me. And that was what was coming up in Owning the Moment webinar. So let's go to another level and let's face all the parts of you that in your subconsciousness is skirting around real change, not a little bit of sugar candy on the front, on the top surface to say, okay, I'm doing my practice. No, real change. The bones, the meat, the root. Where's the real change? For me, it's not enough to do. There's many different practices you can do, and we're all doing it in our own way. But it's not to do the spiritual label of I've done that, I've done this, I've done that. Have you really looked at your system? Have you really faced your system? Are you willing to face your system? Or are you getting out of your body and going into different dimensions? Ground change and face what's in your body, your cells, your epigenetics. And then all the aspects of the soul can drop into life. I invite you to be part of this and face any aspect of you that is running from change or making so many stories up in your system around avoiding change. Let's take the first step and book the webinar. I invite you to go into it, and you'll feel it when you book the webinar. That's the first step. And you will feel the change happening in your system already before the webinar. So I'm very excited to see what comes in between now and the webinar, as I know when the topic comes up, it keeps working in my system. So we'll go deeper and deeper into this. I really want to dissect this and navigate through this so we don't avoid and run from ourselves when there's a huge potential sitting in front of us. So many people I've worked with says, I feel I should be this, and there's something not happening. Why? Why have I not got that target? What's going on? There's something around. This is a big key in the piece, in the puzzle. So maybe I see you at the weekend at the webinar if you want to face and accept change in your life. And if you haven't done the webinar, the free webinar, I'd really recommend it. And it will really help you to open that door before you step into the field of the webinar about accepting all the energies which is blocking you from really making changes in your life. Have a beautiful day and enjoy this puzzle. See it in a lightful way, not a heavy way. I'm always seeing these aspects of me as a challenge and like a treasure hunt. I used to love treasure hunts as a kid. So treasure hunt. And sometimes we have to look around the system and face our own fears, face what's staring us in our face. I invite you to take that challenge. Thank you.